Well, worries about the economy, as Kelly just mentioned, not fading. Forbes Media CEO Steve Forbes is here to talk about. Steve, I don't know if you just heard my talk with Adam about what happened with the CHIPS Act and the whole chips industry. Intel was the biggest beneficiary of that $280 billion monstrosity called the CHIPS Act. By the way, it wasn't just Democrats. Biden-Harris put it forward. A lot of Republicans voted for it, too. But the fact of the matter is Intel is dying. I mean, I shouldn't go quite that far, but at the very least, they've lost 60% of their capital in the past year. They're being taken apparently off of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It just shows industrial policy doesn't work, and that's what I think we're going to hear more of from the Democratic candidate today.
Well, and that's the thing. Government can only see what's there now. They can't see the future. They don't know how to make bets on the future. Intel also gave up its dividend, was the big, great stock in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
When we were leading the world in high tech, we're still leading, but it's a different set of companies.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the government for help, you know you're in trouble, because the government will then put in restrictions on who you can hire, what your practices are, where you put plants and things like that.
But so industrial policy doesn't work. A perfect example is the CHIPS Act. Pumping a lot of money into the economy, just pumping it in, whether it's student loan relief or other things. They've been trying to do that in anticipation of the election, but it hasn't been helping. We don't see signs of a healthy economy, at least the average voter doesn't.
Well, because they overlook a very basic fact. Where do you get the resources to hand out all this boodle? It just doesn't grow on a tree. It comes from the people, ultimately, unless you print the money, which is another form of taxation. So they're taking real resources that could be better used by people who either create the resources or want to put those resources to work like an entrepreneur than a bureaucrat. And so who would you rather have your money?
But they think
Kamala Harris or Warren Buffett?
But they think they can, exactly. They think they can lie about it. We continue to hear Biden talking about the manufacturing sector is doing too well. If you add up the past two jobs reports in the manufacturing sector, they're losing jobs. It's a negative number. The jobs we are losing manufacturing jobs, not gaining them. So they're claiming it's a big success. It's not.
No, in fact, it's quite the opposite. And this is the danger. When they hand out boodle like that, they buy political support. They had the other day, 18 Republican members of the House of Representatives say, oh, don't fool around with this green stuff that thgoing to handing out, because their districts are getting it. Mm-hmm. And so they buy that. And when they have that, then it's very hard to remove. And one of the things Trump's going to have to do when he gets in office is pull that up like weeds from a garden before those weeds become permanent.
Yeah, by the way, today we got the JOLTS report. It was a disappointment. We were expecting 8.1. This is the number of jobs that are available. And you know, we've been a very fortunate economy to have more jobs available than people to fill those jobs. We were expecting those 7.67 million. We ended up getting 8.1 million. What are we going to see on Friday when we get the August jobs numbers?
You're going to have to look, again, behind the headlines. One, what are the revisions going to be? Every time they come out with a jobs report, they're always revising downward the previous estimates. How many jobs are being created in terms of small businesses? How many jobs are part-time? How many people are having 2 or more jobs to make ends meet? That's where you have to see the health of the economy.
What kind of jobs?
What kind of jobs?
Whether they're government jobs or government-related jobs or manufacturing.
The number of jobs comes from government or government-related activities like health care.
Yes. Yes. And now, by the way, I mentioned the JOLTS report. I think I said it backwards. We were expecting 8.1 million. We actually got 7.6 million. So the numbers going down. It's still relatively healthy when you look at the world economy.
But then you look at the Atlanta Fed, which makes estimates on GDP. They have all the caveats in there, but it just went from 3 down, or 2.8 down to 2 in their latest estimate. So the economy is beginning to slow down. And the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates too high too long. When you have short-term interest rates being above long-term for as long as they've had it, that's bad for small businesses. So the government prospers only when the free economy prospers.
Right. Right. And the voters do seem to, they're not being fooled by it. They know what they're buying. They know what the cost is compared to what they're making. Even even though Kamala was one of the big cheerleaders for Bidenomics, she's trying to back up. Salon magazine actually suggested yesterday that she avoid talking about the #1 issue for voters, the economy, because there's no way she can avoid that connection with Bidenomics, something that voters generally don't like. Do you think it's possible to avoid, in an election, to avoid talking about the things voters care most about?
Well, what they're trying to do is make the election about personalities. The evil Donald Trump versus the happy, sunny Kamala Harris. And that's what they're trying to do. And one of the things she's going to try to do in the debate is to goad Trump to go and be about personality rather than policy. What Trump should do in that debate is let her do most of the talking, because then people will see what's there. And people also, and then he asked that killer question that Ronald Reagan always asked: are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Yeah. My policies worked. We added jobs. She talked about getting inflation down to 3%. He just points out that's twice the rate we had when I left office and you took over.
In the Biden-Trump debate, of course, they turned off the mics for the person who wasn't talking, and that worked out pretty well for Donald Trump. So maybe he can turn it off in his mind. The mics apparently will be on, but he can turn it off in his mind.
Well, all he has to do is just take the night off, and she'll do herself in.
All right, Steve Forbes, you never do yourself in, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Steve.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here. Well, it's game on.